with scientists on the brink of something revolutionary. Just 1 year earlier, in 1910, Rutherford had delivered a shocking revelation, one that would alter the course of physics forever. For years, scientists believed that Thomson's plum pudding model was correct. But Rutherford had tested it. He and his team, Hans Geiger and Ernest Marsden, fired alpha particles at a thin sheet of gold foil. Most of the particles passed through, but some bounced back at odd angles. It was as if they had struck something dense, hard, and incredibly small. The results were inexplicable, unless atoms were not what everyone thought they were. In 1911, Rutherford announced his radical new model, the nuclear atom. Instead of a diffuse cloud of charge, the atom had a dense nucleus at its center, with electrons orbiting around it. The old world of physics crumbled at this revelation. But even Rutherford himself had no clear explanation for how these orbiting electrons behaved. And that was where Bohr came in. Unlike many of Rutherford's students, Bohr was not content to simply accept the new model. He wanted to understand it. The idea of a central nucleus made sense, but a serious problem remained. According to classical electromagnetism, electrons in orbit around a nucleus should lose energy and spiral inward, collapsing the atom in a fraction of a second. But atoms didn't collapse. They existed stable and structured. Why? Bohr knew that the answer lay in a new kind of physics, one that classical mechanics alone could not provide. And then, it came to him: quantum theory. A radical idea had been proposed just over a decade earlier by Max Planck, suggesting that energy was not continuous, but quantized, released in discrete packets called quanta. Einstein had taken this idea further, using it to explain the photoelectric effect, proving that light itself behaved like a particle under certain conditions. Bohr began wondering, what if electrons also obeyed quantum rules? What if their energy wasn't continuous, but instead restricted to certain levels? Rutherford had welcomed Bohr into his team, but Bohr was not content with merely learning from the great man. He wanted to push the theory even further. He immersed himself in quantum theory, drawing connections between Planck's work and the strange behavior of atoms. Late nights in the Manchester laboratory turned into long discussions with Rutherford. The older physicist was fascinated by Bohr's ideas but remained skeptical. Bohr had a brilliant mind, but could he prove his claims? For months, Bohr wrestled with the equations, testing different models in his attempt to reconcile the stability of atoms with Rutherford's nuclear structure. Every approach failed. Electrons, according to classical physics, should still spiral inward. But Bohr refused to give up. Then, one evening, an idea struck him. What if electrons did not follow classical orbits at all? What if their energy levels were fixed, allowing them to exist in only certain discrete states? And, most importantly, what if they could only transition between these levels by absorbing or emitting specific amounts of energy? It was an astonishing leap. It defied Newtonian mechanics. It suggested a world where electrons jumped between energy levels without moving through the space in between, a world of discontinuity of quantum jumps. Bohr knew this was heretical, but deep down he sensed it was the truth. His theory was incomplete, yet it felt inevitable. By 1913, after 2 years of refining his ideas, Bohr was ready. He published a set of 3 groundbreaking papers outlining his quantum model of the atom. The scientific community was stunned. The old rules of physics were breaking apart. And in their place, something entirely new was emerging. The age of quantum mechanics had begun. The year was 1913, and something extraordinary was happening in the world of physics. A young Danish physicist, hardly known beyond academic circles, had just proposed